Hello, guys. It's Kasim. I hope you're doing all right. I hope your week is going all right. So I wanted to talk to you about 10 stupid mistakes men make when they're getting divorced. So I was watching this program on YouTube, and the program was talking about these mistakes that typically men make when they're getting divorced. And I thought, you know what? I absolutely love that. I know a lot of lads are never going to be able to see that video. So let me see if I can share them with you guys. And it will hopefully it'll be able to add some value to the quality of your life. I'm going to put the link of the original video down below so you can go and talk about it in. And the guy who talks about it is a lot more comprehensive. He's been dealing with people with divorce for a long time, so I think you'll find him useful. So, but before we get into that, as usual, guys, I'd love it if you want to support me get to 1,000 subscribers by June by subscribing to my channel. Obviously, if you find what I'm going to share with you today useful, yeah, thank you very much. Okay, cool. So let's get into these 10 stupid mistakes that men make when they're facing divorce. So the first thing you talked about is that men move out of their house, meaning that if you, he was saying that if you move out of your house, women, for example, can change the locks when you move out of the house. Here's a problem. If you try to gain access back into your house, even though you're probably paying the bills and all your clothes etc are in there, you have to do it on her terms. And if she then, for example, files a molestation order because she thinks her life is in danger, or a restraining order, you now have a massive issue on your hands. So it's much easier. He was saying that excuse me. He was saying that it's much easier to get a court to get her out of the house than it is to get you back into the house. Because if remember that family law courts look for whatever is the best thing for the child. Okay? So and the key thing that they're looking for is stability. So whatever has already been established, the court wants to maintain it. Meaning, if you've moved out and they start asking the wife, how are the kids doing? Are the kids safe? Are the kids How are the kids doing in school? And you moved out of the house, they're not going to move you back in, because if you move back in the house, you're now going to create loads of problems and instability. Or if they have to move out of the house and sell the house, it's going to cause loads of problems. So this is part of the reason why so many men struggle with trying to get the household, because they've moved out of the house, right? They've moved out of the house, and the court wants to keep the stability of the house, which means they don't want they're not going to recommend to the woman to sell the house. Does that make sense? So the first thing is, don't move out of your house. Clearly, if you're in a situation where your life is in danger, where genuinely you can't live in the house anymore, then of course move out of the house. But generally speaking, stay in the house until you get into the courts. Two, he said a lot of men make the mistake of choosing the wrong lawyer. Okay? Meaning, if you're getting divorced, the best lawyer that you want to get is a divorce lawyer. If you are somebody who is getting, I don't know, a business transaction being done, the best lawyer you want to get is a commercial lawyer. All right? Choose the lawyer specifically for what they're tailored to do. Because clearly, like for example, if you come to me and you start asking me about things like, I don't know, plastic surgery, like what a plastic surgeon would do, etc. I can't really tell you very much about that. But let me tell you what I can tell you a lot about. I can tell you a lot about personal development, about anomalies, about how to change, about how to people can change their lives, because it's my speciality. I know a lot about it. I can break it down, dilute it, etc. So the way that I want to put it to you is this: don't go to your GP, go to a specialist. If you go to your GP, a general practitioner, and there's something wrong with you, all they can do is kind of try to figure out general things and then give you general answers. And if the problem is big enough, what they will do is they will refer you to a specialist. But the specialist is actually who you really need to speak to. And so what I'm saying to you is, if you're getting divorced or you're facing divorce, get a divorce lawyer. Find somebody who's specially designed to work in that area. That is what they do day in, day out. They face these problems because they're going to be able to give you advice about what to do, what not to do, when to file things much, much better because it's their world every single day. Number 3, wait for your wife to file. A lot of men make the mistakes of waiting for their wife to file for divorce. Now, a lot of the case in a lot of so statistics say that in the UK, about 70 to 80% of all divorces since the 1960s have been filed for by the woman. So the chances of a man actually filing for divorce is actually very small. Now, many times before you actually get to divorce, a lot of couples would have gone to couples counseling, etc., etc. The point that I'm trying to get to here, and he was trying to get to, is information. Okay, you need to try to get information, and if you wait to go to your solicitor or to a divorce lawyer to ask about the process, to ask about what your rights are, how children work, you are going to be on the back foot because women usually, by the time they've come to you to ask for a divorce, they've already spoken to their lawyer, they've already spoken to their mum, they've already put money aside. In other words, they're in a much stronger position than you are when they're asking for a divorce. So women don't just ask for a divorce, especially if you have kids together, because they have to think about how we're going to feed ourselves, where we're going to live. Like all of these things are in the back of the woman's mind. So for you, what I would share with you is try to think about, if you can, file for the divorce first. But actually, the bigger thing that he was saying, which I found fascinating, is whoever files for the divorce, when you get into the court, your side of the story is heard first. Okay? Whoever files for court, so meaning, if you go into the court and she's filed first for divorce and she gives a side of the story, her solicitor and divorce lawyer is going to talk about all of these things, how you're a bad dad, you moved out of the house, you haven't seen the kids in so long, you don't know about their homework, you haven't picked them up from school, blah, 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 blah. You are going to be painted like the devil. But if you get to put your side first, you can actually, it's much, what was I reading? I was reading something that was saying that that was it. So I was doing a course for BP, like in their training, and they were saying that for every negative experiences that a customer has, it takes 12 to cancel out that one negative. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, God, okay, so when you go into court, imagine your ex-wife or wife saying all of these things about you and how you haven't done this and how you cheated, etc., etc., etc. Imagine how good of a human being you're going to have to be in order to cancel out all of these things that they're going to say. It's going to be very, very, very difficult. Does that make sense? So that's one of the mistakes that he was saying. The fifth mistake that he said is concealing, fourth, is concealing information from your lawyers. He said that a lot of people conceal things from their lawyers, and then their lawyer isn't going to give them the best possible advice for their situation. And he was saying, like, don't keep things from your lawyers. If you know, for example, that you have another house which your wife doesn't know about, you have income coming in that your wife doesn't know about, listen, disclose it to your solicitor or your lawyer so that they can give you the best advice about what to do with it. Because if you get into the court and their solicitor has found out this stuff about you, or they have this information about you, your solicitor is unprepared. They can't give you advice because they didn't know about this kind of stuff. If you know that you've cheated, if you know that there is a very high likely chance that your wife has recordings of you having arguments and where you've been abusive, you need to tell your solicitor so that they can give you the best possible advice based on your circumstances. Number 5, he said neglecting the children. So he was talking about the fact that a lot of you guys, what ends up happening when you're facing divorce is that you neglect your children. Meaning, you for example, you don't turn up and pick them up from school. You move out of the house. You don't know about their homework, right? And he was saying, like, as a father, you need to be doing this kind of stuff. That means you need to be setting your life up in such a way that you pick your kids up from school. that you do your homework, that you turn up to parents' evening. Basically, you don't cash out because you're so sick and tired of this woman that you neglect your children. Because the moment you get into those that court system, it's just not going to look favourable for you, right? And especially if you're going to have to be cross-examined by their solicitors about things. They're going to ask you things like, well, tell us how your kids are doing in school. If you say they're doing okay, but then your wife is put up on the stand and she says, no, they're not, because Ben or Leroy or Juan is struggling in maths, you're going to look like an idiot. You're going to look like a dickhead. Because it's like, how can there be such a mismatch in your understanding of your children? So he was saying, don't neglect your children, right? Do everything absolutely possible to ensure that you're there for school days, football. Basically, be the best possible father you've ever been until you're divorced, right? Until those papers are signed and the court gives you a stamp, right? Obviously, you should already be a good father anyway. You get my point. But what I'm saying to you is you should take it up 100. Number 6 is he was saying the big mistake that men make is doing a sloppy job on their financial records. So he was saying that a lot of guys, what we do is we basically don't take the financial statements serious. We fill things out in the wrong places. We give accounts that are not really real. And a lot of guys don't understand a huge percentage of the decision that is going to be made is going to be based on your accounting, right? Meaning that when you go into the court and the judge is asking you, like for example, if you don't know like how much you earned last year and you go into the court and the judge is asking you, so how much did you earn last year, and you have no idea, you're going to look like an idiot. Because like you don't even know how much money you earned. So how do you know that you're going to be able to take care of the kids, etc., etc., etc.? So a good rule, he said, is like take your accounting really seriously, right? You should take time out. You should fill everything out. It should be in bold writing. It should be clear. It should you shouldn't miss things out. If you got paid for, if you got debt, anything like that, you need to put all of it on there. Meaning you may have to ask your lawyer for extra pieces of forms or paper to fill more stuff out in this form. By the way, I apologize, guys, because I got a bit of a cold today, so my apologies that I'm sniffing, but I really wanted to share this video and keep consistency in sharing these videos, so I do apologize in advance. So, as you were saying, don't do a really shit job on your finances, on your financial records and statements. The 7th thing that he said was talking too much to your ex-wife. And what he meant by this is telling, for example, there is a... Obviously, when you're getting divorced, a lot of people are going to be angst, they're going to be angry, they're going to be really good at winding their partner up. And one of the strategies that women are going to use is they're going to try to get information out of you. What do you know? What is your plan? Where are you going to be living? And your job is to try to not talk too much to your ex-wife. Say things, because she might record conversations that you have, and the more stuff that you keep telling her, the more stuff she's going to have in order to get back at you. Now, this doesn't mean that you then become terrible at communicating with your ex-wife, especially around your kids, but this just means if, for example, you have said to you and your lawyers and your solicitor have talked about how you know that she's been going out, or she's on OnlyFans or whatever. Don't conceal that, because the moment don't reveal that, because the moment her solicitors find you tell her that, and her solicitors find this out, they're going to try to do everything to obviously leverage themselves so that she doesn't look as bad. Now, obviously, this is a really delicate situation, because you've got to remember she's the mother of your children. She used to be your ex-wife. She used to be your best friend. But at the same time, you've got to also protect yourself. And the point that this guy gets at is that a lot of men don't do it. They're so much in this mindset of trying to be the good guy, of trying to do the right thing, that they leave themselves wide open and vulnerable for the woman to just step right over them and destroy everything. That's why most women take everything in court, because men just lay over on their bellies, open themselves up, and just the woman just and the court system takes absolute advantage of them. So don't talk too much to your wife about stuff. If you've got a pay rise, shut up. Don't tell her that you've got a pay rise, okay? If you've made investments that are going to come through in the next 2 months, shut up. Don't tell her about that. which kind of leads to the eighth thing that he talked about, which is that revealing too much information on the internet. You've got to shut up. He basically said, from the moment your wife asks you for the divorce until the court stamps you, delete all your social media. Because he said the amount of people who get themselves into trouble when they're going through divorce, all because they've put something on the internet. They've got into an argument with their ex-wife and they've put something. They've reposted something. They've reposted something on their that's about divorce, or their ex-wife, or women ain't shit, or whatever it may be. And then they go into court and the wife has it and she's printed it out and she's like, well, look at what he's been saying about me. This is the kind of character that he has. And this is the guy that you want to have full custody of our children? I don't think so. So he said that you need to shut up about, you basically need to just shut down your entire internet. Say nothing, put nothing online. If you're doing well at work, if you've got a new girlfriend, I mean, he said that by far that is the worst one. Getting a new wife, having a new partner, because the reality is women are going to look on your social media, whether they were your ex-wife or not. They're just out of curiosity, they're going to look. If she starts seeing you moving in with women, taking pictures, going on a holiday, it's going to drive her nuts. And she's going to become vengeful. So don't post anything on the internet. Don't talk to her about new girlfriends. Shut up. Say nothing. The ninth thing that he said, that a mistake that men make, is failing to engage in the court case. Meaning, like, they don't call up what's happening to the court case. Whereabouts are we? When is the next court day? What do I need to do? Do I need to bring this? I've got a pay rise. Should I put this on the form? What is the likelihood of this happening? What is the likelihood of that happening? What if the trial is postponed? What if she comes and she tries to renegotiate? Like, what's going to happen? In other words, he was saying, engage in your divorce, right? Meaning, you should know more about what's happening with the divorce than he should. Right? So you should know what stage you're at, what is going on. You should be pestering your divorce lawyer to the degree where it's like, this is ridiculous. This person is too much. Like, step back, give me a break, right? If you're not that kind of stage, then you're behind. Because as much as you want your solicitor to be professional, etc., solicitors have loads of clients here who they're trying to deal with. They can't remember the exact same thing. Right? You might not fill out a form and might be behind, and your wife files it or something like that, or they might be a form that, or some documents that you need to get, and you might not get them in time to fill them out, to send them off, to get them stamped, etc., or because your solicitor was busy doing something and they didn't send them to you in time. But by you calling them saying, what's happening this week, any new news, anything else you know about, you will trigger them to say something to you. The last thing that he said, which is a mistake that a lot of men make when they're facing divorce, is being ill-prepared for testimony and interviews. Meaning, and I talked a little bit about this, meaning that when you get into court, or you're being interviewed by the other side, like, they start asking you about your children, asking you about their schooling, asking you about your income, asking you about your character, asking you about arguments, right? That you need to know answers to this stuff so that you're not caught off guard. Right? You need to know how much money you earned last year, how much the kids' schooling is and lunch boxes are, what they eat in their lunch boxes. You need to know how their last football game was, what they're struggling with, you need to know the names of their teachers. All of this stuff you need to know. Because if you get into that court case and you don't know this stuff, or you get into that mediation and you don't know this stuff, you're going to look like an idiot. You're going to look really bad. So those are the 10 mistakes that he talked about that men make. And I just wanted to share them with you because I just wanted them to prompt you, because you might be going through a divorce. And I just wanted you go and follow his link and watch his video, because obviously he's a lot more in detail. He gives great examples. He gives great scenarios. And I think hopefully it should be able to help you out yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to help me get to 1,000 subscribers by June, please like and subscribe to my channel. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.